astray and lied to. I don't think there's anyone that hates it more than I do. Trapped inside the system and I'm caught up in the struggle. One day I hope to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I feel like I'm alone and no one knows the things I know. There's nobody to talk to and there's nowhere I can go. Trapped inside the system and I'm caught up in the struggle. One day I hope to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Cool.
Thank you for tuning in to F.M.S. Future Management Services Healer Nation podcast. With me today, I have Chase, and he is an advocate for peers. He's a peer advocate in reference to mental health and counseling and so forth, what have you. So he is a professional with us today. Mental health has a lot to do with traumas and stressors in our life. It has a lot has to do with the way that we handle it, whether it's healthy or unhealthy. Drinking, drugging, violence, sex, mental abuse, physical abuse, and mental health breakdowns are some of the ways the mind and body responds to these traumas and stresses. As again, thank you for tuning into F.M.S. Future Management Services Heal the Nation podcast by ttt.v. Today's topic, we're going to talk about sobriety and mental health. Sobriety and mental health pretty much go hand in hand. And I'll tell you why. Because a lot of the drugging and alcohol comes from our state of mind of what we want to feel or what we want to hide or mask. So as we're doing this, what it happens is that we indulge more and more, so both of them are affected drastically. And that's basically the way that would work. It's like a merry-go-round situation. Wesley just came over here. I'm see what he's saying.
Okay.
He's trying to get in. Well, I'm going to ask you a question while I get Wesley in here, and you can talk for a while.
Cool.
When did you start drinking or drugging? I don't know if you ever did drugs or anything, but when did you start masking whatever you're feeling or whatever you've been through, if that happens to be the case for you? But I don't know, just tell your story. Like how do you become, I know you in the past you talked about drinking was an issue, and how'd that come about?
Yeah, first of all, thanks. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Coleman, having me on your show. It's exciting to be a part of like a new podcast and a new project. I haven't done this in a while, so I'm a little rusty, I guess you could say. But yeah, thanks for having me on. And yeah, I'm Chase. I'm a peer advocate, which means I'm 2 years into recovery. 2 years in recovery? Yeah, 2 years into recovery. About a year and a half fully sober. I identified mostly as a drinker and alcoholic. Did, I guess, recreationally a bunch of other drugs in my day. And yeah, I mean, I think you bring up a good point about how trauma connects directly with substance abuse. I think that's an area I feel like of knowledge that I think we're continuously like learning about. I think it's pretty important to the work that I'm not a clinician, but the work that we do at I guess as professionals who work in substance use disorder. Yeah, it's an important topic to take into account when you're working with people. And I guess my story, I guess to answer your question, I mean, I started like most people, I think, who fall into substance use disorder and addiction. I started at an age where I was probably far too young to understand like my trauma. Back back then, you know, we didn't even know the word trauma. That's kind of like a new thing, right? I started consuming way before I understood all the traumas that I had, before I understood that I had a mental illness, all of these things, right? And I think I could, like a lot of people, I think I remember my first memories of, you know, drinking that first beer at like a party, you know, my sophomore year of high school. Started, you know, I was like, what, I was 15, and just feeling really good and kind of just really being kind of really taken away and kind of enthralled in the feeling of kind of getting like a buzz going and whatnot. So I think that was the first hook, right? And looking back, I mean, I feel like, yeah, the first times I got drunk, I really enjoyed the feeling of you know, substances for me, and alcohol especially, it really just took away all of my anxieties. It really just, you know, kind of alleviated all of my stress, all of my social anxiety, all of the things that I didn't like about myself. It really just in one instant would wash all that away, and I felt a completely different person. And yeah, I mean, looking back now, at the time, of course, I didn't realize that. At the time, I just thought it was cool. I thought it was fun. I liked the feeling of it. You know, everybody was doing it. All the people who wanted to be, you know, cool in high school were doing it. But looking back, and as it's funny because, you know, I feel like parents and teachers and mentors and whatnot, sometimes they tell you about drugs, they tell you don't do them, you know, you're just covering up pain, you're hiding and whatnot. We don't listen to them, you know, we don't listen to the things that like our mentors tell us. I think it's bullshit, but looking back, they're really true, you know. I think a lot of substance use, and especially the people who fall into addiction, are really just, you know, trying to cover up, hide, and deal with their trauma in a way that makes sense to them, in a way that is, yeah, is accessible. And it's accessible in the form of, you know, going down to the liquor store and buying a drink, because just for at least temporarily, you know, we get temporary relief. So not to get too much into that, but yeah, I mean, I started off pretty normal like everybody else, started in high school, and just really accelerated to a point in my late 20s where it was really completely ruining my life. It was ruining my career, my job, my personal life. It really controlled everything that I did, who I hung out with, you know, where I chose to live. And it came to a point where I started to become dependent on it, drinking, you know, several times a week, you know, showing up to work all the time hungover.
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
I want to interrupt your bill, but I want to
Mhm.
try to get Wesley in. Did you get in? Did
Cool.
you get a chance to get in, Wes? Now the same thing happened. The same thing happened to Chase. The thing is, the ID number, is the 834 number, not the ID that we have from last night.
Yeah, I put in the number you gave me, the number you sent on WhatsApp.
Okay.
I don't know what the issue is, but you know, that's the deal with that. Yeah, I put it in several times, man.
Can you hear him, Chase?
Yeah, I mean, did he put in the 834-245? That's the chat. That's the chat ID.
Okay. Well, you're not on the recording, but we can hear your voice. You can hear him. You can hear him, right?
Yeah, we can hear him all right. I mean, I don't think it'll show up well on the audio once it's done. He probably won't be
Okay.
very audible.
All right. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not sure what to do as far as it, you know, find a code. Maybe I got, it says invite. Let me just see something right
I mean,
now.
I can let me text you. Let me text you the ID that worked for me. Let me text it to you, and then you can
He's in Sweden, so he has a different number. He's
oh.
in Sweden, so his number starts with a plus sign and a O or something.
Yeah,
Right?
but this should still work for him though.
All right, so he's going to tell you what he did. Can you hear him, Wesley? He's listening to you.
Yeah,
Chase.
so you got the meeting ID number, right? The one that you wrote down, 834-245. Mr. Coleman, you wrote that down, right?
Yeah, I wrote it down.
Okay, yeah, so the meeting ID number, I can read it for you. It's 834,
3-4.
834, yeah,
83.
834.
245,
45.
651,
Right. 651.
60.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and that's exactly the one I used.
Oh yeah,
So I mean, I could try it again to see if it works now. You know,
yeah,
that's the one I was on.
that's the meeting ID. That's not the passcode. The passcode's something different.
Right. That's the first screen
Right.
where you put in the meeting ID, and then you hit join, and then from there you get to the passcode.
Yeah.
It's 44AJI1, I believe, or something.
No,
like that.
No, that's wrong.
it's not a I. It's TJ. It's a lowercase t and a lowercase j1.
TJ1. Okay, right. I mean, I'll try it again. That's I'm pretty sure I'll put that exact number in there. But
Okay.
let me give it another shot.
Okay.
Okay. If we don't see you, we'll do another meeting. We'll try to get you in. I'm just gonna go ahead and continue the meeting with Chase. Thanks for and everything. Hello?
Oh, yeah, I'm with you. I'm just looking through here to see if I could log in.
Well, we appreciate your dedication and you showing up to the meeting. But going forward, we fixed that problem. So Chase was we gonna get back to this because we only got a little time. He doesn't have a lot of time, just like you didn't have a lot of time tonight. And we're just gonna finish this off. Yeah, we get together. We gotta get these email addresses. I gotta make sure I get your email address and and everything so we can work this out. But we're gonna go ahead and finish the meeting.
All right, y'all have a good meeting with it, man.
All right, peace.
All right, peace.
All right.
Yeah, I can show you how to do that next time. If you come in, I can show you how to send the Zoom invite so that you just click on the link and then you automatically go in. It makes it easier.
Okay. I appreciate that. And
Cool.
you were saying that when you were younger that you didn't realize that now looking back that you were masking things and that at first it was a joyful feeling. It was a thing to do. Everybody was doing it and so forth, what have you. And that you didn't realize that it was trying to control you, like become a part of you, like it's like a leech. It grabs onto your personality and you think that that's a part of you.
Right.
I mean, I guess that's what you were saying in essence. Yeah. So with me, the drinking thing started when I was young. I was maybe 6, 7 years old or what have you. And my family would smoke cigarettes, and my mom, my sister, my brother, and they would have beers, like they would drink beers, and they would give me like I would ask for a sip of their beer and all that kind of thing. And that was when I was being introduced to it because I was very young, and at that time they give children beer or wine or whatever so they go to sleep. They figure they get tired, they have a couple of sips, they get tired and go to sleep, and they're out of here and they can party all night and not have to worry about the child.
Yeah.
So that was my indoctrination into alcohol.
Yeah.
From there
That's
it was off
that's
to the
how it
race.
starts for most people, right? I don't think anybody starts like full on just like doing it every day. Nobody starts it dependent on it. You know, nobody starts out an alcoholic. Everybody starts with that first drink and everybody builds up, you know, from there. So yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, that's true. The other thing I was gonna say, because I got some bullet points there. Um, what stressors did you have back then as far as things that were concerning you
Yeah.
that started enhancing the drinking or drugging aspect?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah, a lot. A
Mm,
lot in short. And I think going back to what we were talking about trauma, um, and that's, yeah, I mean, trauma, I'm not an expert on this, of course, but trauma are basically things that happen to you in your life, um, especially and particularly when you're a young person, that leave a lasting, you know, very negative things, you know, difficult moments, that kind of leave a lasting mark on you and your body and your nervous system, really, and how your body works, that then these kind of scars and wounds, they pop up later in life, these traumatic moments, and they kind of trigger us into having kind of fits of anxiety, right? So a trauma could be a violent act. It could be, you know, something. It could be a moment where, you know, you're being neglected by your caregivers. It could be a moment where you're being bullied or something. That's a pretty common trauma that a lot of people experience. For example, bullying,
mhm.
you know, getting made fun of, feeling terrible about yourself. Those moments of like severe embarrassment show up later in life when you're adults, and they can affect you your entire life. You know, moments where for some reason, you know, even though you're an adult and nobody's bullying you anymore, you feel something triggers you, something somebody says, maybe your boss says it or something to you, and then you're all of a sudden you feel like a little kid anymore. You get really embarrassed. So that's what I'm talking about when we're talking about trauma. And yeah, I mean, I don't think most young people, especially, you know, I'm only 30, and even, you know, what, 16 years ago when I started drinking, well, was it that? I guess it was earlier than that. We weren't having discussions about like trauma and stuff like that, you know. That's something that I feel like over the last 10 years has really started to pick up, right? So to answer your question, like, I didn't know what really my stressors were at that point. I mean, um, I'm very privileged to come from a family that, you know, really stressed education and stuff. And, you know, I was very lucky to go to like a good school, um, with like really good teachers and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I think growing up is a fucking hard task, being an adolescent. Um, in this country is difficult. Um, and mostly just I would say just my home life and my family life. Mostly those were the things that were causing me the most stress, and not
Yeah.
understanding the mental illness that I had, the anxiety and depression, the clinical anxiety and depression that I had,
Yeah.
being
Okay.
completely unaware.
We got
Mhm.
9 minutes on this meeting. I know you
Yeah.
have to get ready to go, because we would just redo another meeting and
Hmm.
just extend it. But the the other thing I want to ask you, since we run out of time,
Hmm.
is you talked about how it affected mental health, you know, the traumas and stressors and stuff that you're going on with you. Um, so by you um masking your what you were going through, that what did that do as far as the situation? Did it make it better for you, or did it make it worse, or what?
Always makes it incredibly worse. You know what I mean? I think the one thing that I can't say we, but I don't know if there's an example of a person who has solved their mental health and solved their trauma and and come out a better person through substance use. You know what I mean? Like like we try to find relief. We try to find peace through it and enjoyment and pleasure. I don't think there's no person who is hooked on alcohol and drugs who is truly okay and healed and happy. You know what I mean? I don't think
I
that's
got
ever
you.
happened. I don't know of any examples.
I haven't
So
heard of it either.
yeah,
I don't think that
yeah.
a lot of people fool themselves thinking that that would
Mhm.
help them, but I haven't had any. If anyone out there that was listening to this podcast can tune in and let us know if you have heard somebody that is doing very well
Yeah.
by substances or
Mhm.
masking their thing. They could talk to us and let us know. But
Yeah.
we have about 6 minutes left on this meeting, and how do you deal with it now? Let's get to the chase. How do you deal with it now as far as um your traumas and stressors? Are you not using alcohol now for
Yeah.
that? No. Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, so how are you handling your mental health and your sobriety? Since this is a topic.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a great question. Yeah, that's such an important question. I mean, first of all, sobriety in itself, getting to a space of clear-headedness, the clear-headedness that sobriety kind of gives you, and the strength that really comes out of that. And I entered treatment. I went to therapy and counseling, and I had done so before for actually many years leading up to me finally getting sober, right?
Mm.
um I sought out treatment, I sought out professional help, and that was huge. And I sought out community too. It's really difficult to do it alone, right? So I went to AA meetings, and I never really got into that um, so much. Actually, I'm thinking of getting back to that at some point, to like continue. But yeah, I surrounded myself with people who were going through the journey as well. I networked with a lot of like sober coaches, sobriety coaches. People like yourself doing podcasts and whatnot. I just kind of built up knowledge and built up a community to where I felt like really supported in it. And continuing to just address my mental health and learning about things that are beneficial to mental health, meditation, fucking yoga, exercise, all these things, health and wellness, diet, nutrition, and just putting together a life that for me feels sustainable in terms of my mental health.
Mm.
Self-care, taking days off when you need days off, getting good sleep, things like that. Just really crafting, and in a larger sense, really crafting a life that is sustainable and healthy, in which I don't constantly feel the need to reach for a bottle to kind of escape from my
Yeah, that's
problems.
great, man, and I applaud you. You know what I mean? I applaud you for your accomplishment and everything because there's a lot of us who don't see or put forth the effort to change their course. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they just kind of let it happen, and they figure that it's okay the way that they are, and that things will change eventually. But like you were saying, things get worse, and
Yeah.
that's I'm glad that you're in a better space now. You look healthy and everything, and I mean, like that's a great thing. I mean, I'm doing the same thing. You're not by yourself. Everybody on this podcast are people who have indulged and have experienced these experiences as well, and who are fighting for their sobriety and for their mental health. A lot of people have a mental illness and don't even know it. You know, um, like you were saying, traumas and stressors, and we respond later on in life with something that happened later, that happened earlier, and we don't realize why we are affected or respond that way.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have it and they don't realize it. As far as that,
It's a work in
what
progress, right? Like nobody has it figured out. Like it's hard and it's a long journey. It's really a
what
lifelong journey. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's
that's
a
what I would add.
journey for sure. It's a
Yeah.
journey, and as we accomplish and move up the ladder of our accomplishments, there's more